Okay, we need to find the inverse function of this relation. So this relation is, we're essentially interpreting y equals 2x plus 1 as a function of x. Okay, so x is the input, you insert it into a particular function. So we usually interpret that in our course as a machine. And what it does to x is it does 2x plus 1 to it. So we assign that to be y. Now what we would like to do is insert that y and get back the original x that we got. Okay, so that machine is called the inverse function. Now to do that, so this right here, y being isolated, right? So and then on the right side we have an expression of x. So here you can interpret the x as an input, and all these things are being done to the x, right? So that's the function. That's a description of the function. This time I would like the y to be the input, and I'd like to do something to y, and I'd like to describe that as a function. So what that means is that we need to re-isolate this x so that I can get an expression of y as a function. Okay, so let's isolate the x, and we get, first of all, y minus 1 is equal to 2x, okay, and x is equal to a half times by y minus 1. So now here you can think of the y as the input, and all these things are being done to y to get this x. Okay. So as it stands, this thing on the left here, that's a function of y. Okay. So actually that's the inverse function. So it's the inverse function of y. Now when we talk about functions, right? So we like to properly talk about the input as the x variable. So what we do is, the final step we need to do is we need to switch the x and y variable. And from these two, we get the f inverse of, now y becomes x, because x is a standard for the input. And the output is half of x minus 1. So this is the inverse function.